Hello there, I'm Alice Oliver, and you're listening to Just Films and That, the podcast that celebrates films we think might be underrated or underseen. It was Josh's turn to pick this week, and he went with Eagle versus Shark from 2007. So, let's see how we get on. Hi there, Josh. So, you picked this week's film, Eagle versus Shark.
I
So,
did.
spoiler warning, listeners, if you haven't seen that one yet. So, Josh, do tell us, what is the film about and why did you pick it?
So, it is the first feature film by Taika Waititi, who most people will know for doing the most recent Thor films and Free Guy, and he was in Free Guy, didn't direct it, and Jojo Rabbit, which he also wrote and directed. So that's one of the reasons why I picked it. It is about, essentially, it's set in New Zealand, and it's about two sort of misfits played by Jermaine Clement and Lauren Horsley, who just sort of get together, and it's about her meeting his family, and they're just sort of misfits and oddballs, and that's pretty much what it's about. It's sort of a relatively gentle indie comedy, really. Why did I pick it? Well, I wanted to pick Taika Waititi film because he's one of my favorite directors, and I've seen seen every feature film he's done.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which I didn't.
Super fun.
I was only
over
thinking
here.
this the other day when I did the little mini episode on Love and Thunder. I didn't even touch on that. I suppose because the Marvel films are such massive products, you don't really think of the director as it being a director's film, do you? It's just sort of very much a studio film. So I picked that because I wanted to pick a Taika Waititi film. I originally picked it because I thought it was underseen. It's his first film. It's probably one of the lesser known films. There's a film he did after this called Boy. It was between that and this. I might pick Boy another time, but I went for this because it's the earliest one. Then I looked at the ratings and thought, well, actually, maybe it is a little bit underrated. And and I thought, you know what? It's a relatively gentle indie film. Let's have a look at it. We haven't done something like this for a while. As I say, I think it's underseen because I don't know how it did worldwide, and I think it's a little bit underrated. Now, I'm really interested to know what you thought of this, because even when I told you what it was, you were excited by the title. Did you think this was like a mega shark versus giant octopus deal, or
That's exactly what I thought, Josh. that is exactly what I thought.
Well, it's not going to live up to that, is it? It's not going to.
No, it's not. I got my evening all ready. I said to Ollie, "Hey, guess what? I'm going to watch Eagle versus Shark," and he was like, "I don't think that is what you think it is, you know." And I was like, "No, I reckon it's going to be sick. It's going to be sick." And then obviously put it on, and I was like,
where's
okay.
the eagle fighting the shark?
Yeah, a little bit. So wasn't what I was expecting, but that's okay.
I mean, who's winning in that? It's shark, right?
I thought Eagle, you know, in my head when I was picturing it, because obviously I was like, you know, beginning to end when you told me the title, because if no one's made that film yet, then why? But definitely the eagle. I reckon the eagle got this, man. Those claws, I reckon, massive claws like that. They're like hands, aren't they?
The shark would have to be in water, right? So,
well, yeah, obviously.
How do you make it a fair fight? Because all the shark's got to do is drag the eagle underwater, and it's
no.
knackered.
So it's obviously a shark that can come onto land for some reason. Like, you know, you just figure that out so that then they're against each other. Because you drag that into water, it's not going to be fair.
So the shark can breathe air.
And maybe has legs and arms like a little dog. Yeah. Anyway.
I think a shark smashing an eagle all day for me.
Well, interesting, because I disagree. So listeners,
we'll put it out.
Listeners, in a fight between a giant eagle and a megalodon style shark, who's winning that? Right? But in my version, the shark can come onto land.
So, a walking shark and a normal eagle.
You do this in water, it's obviously the sharks.
And you do it, and if you do it in the sky, the shark's just going to fall to its death. So
exactly, there's got to be different rules. But anyway. I was worried this might happen, and this would become about that.
So you're already on the back foot because it's not about an eagle fighting a shark. But
I was looking forward to that as well. So
what did you think, apart from the initial disappointment?
After I got over the shock and I was able to sit still and relax. So in general, I feel like it is a slightly wacky take on, shall we say, some of the more important and tender moments in life. So like the vessel is ridiculous and fun, but inside is a whole bunch of emotion and heartfelt moments. I feel like it's clear what it's going for. It knows what it wants to be, and the execution has worked really well. It feels a bit like a story between people who have like gotten older but haven't grown up, or perhaps haven't developed in the way that they would have liked. So they're still awkward and find it hard to express themselves and feel like they can't really be themselves. And it's kind of about, how do you navigate being in your 20s? Because they are in their 20s, right? That's the impression I
think at
get.
one point he says, at one point Jermaine Clement's character says he's 28.
Yeah, man.
I feel like
so
he says
exactly.
he's 28. He's
So
not
being
28.
that age,
He's about 40. Like,
he's always been about 40.
He looks the same age then as he does now. He doesn't look any different.
So imagine, so it's like feeling like you're still 18, even though you're in your late 20s.
It's a bit. Have you seen Napoleon Dynamite?
I haven't, but that is exactly what Ollie said.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because I've spoken to your other half about Napoleon Dynamite. So for me, and I might get pelters for this. So like, it's one of my other half's favorite films. I don't like it. I've watched it with her about. I've watched it. I must have watched it 4 times, 5 times, and every time I don't get it. I see a bit of that in this, but I think it's more. I don't want to say more linear. It's more. I don't know. I just think it's better. I think it's funnier. I don't know. I can't really put my finger on it. There's more to this. I think there's more substance to this. There's more reason why the characters are the way they are and stuff. It's a bit like that, and it's also a bit like. And I don't know if you've mentioned if you've seen this or not, but have you seen Flight of the Conchords?
Yes.
So obviously Jermaine Clement's in Flight of the Conchords. Taika Waititi, I think the first thing he directed back over in the States was about 4 or 5 episodes of Flight of the Conchords. So there's definitely a sense of that in this as well, isn't there? Like a fish out of water, oddball, misfit type deal.
Yeah, but without it being too overt and too extrovert, I suppose. Like it's about the subtle things that make you different and that make you, in your view, like a bit weird. But in other films, I suppose, in the more traditional Hollywood ones, those characters would be so extreme, like getting up in your face about, oh, look how weird I am. This is how, like, it would all be just so much. But there was a subtlety in this, even though it was still absurd. That is such a fine balance to strike, I think, between it being absurd and being subtle and emotive. But I think he nailed it, you know?
Yeah, it's a fine line between quirky and annoying.
Yes, exactly.
And I agree. I think this film completely nails it. And I'm not going to harp on about it, but like the Napoleon Dynamite comparison, I find it more annoying than quirky. Whereas this, I think the balance is better. But that's just my opinion. Well, I'm glad.
If you want to send Josh your opinions on Napoleon Dynamite, please contact him directly.
My personal mobile number is 07. So overall, did you enjoy it then?
I did, certainly.
Yeah,
I did. I thought it was funny. I thought it was moving.
You got over the initial disappointment.
It lingered. There might be some things I might talk about later. But no, overall, I did think it was really good, and I was really happy that you chose it.
Oh, good.
What are some of the standout things for you, do you think?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think this film particularly like it's not like amazing, it's not changing the world, but I do think it's a decent sort of indie comedy. I think there's a really nice, similar to what you said there, there's a really nice feel, a really nice quirkiness to the comedy. I think overall it's very low stakes. And I've talked about this before, it's a little slice of life film. We were 2 people who are just outcasts who end up in a relationship. And I think there's a real sweetness to their oddballness and to their misfitness. I really love little things in this film that are sort of, I know we've touched on this before about people who are just happy with their lot, people who are just happy in their little worlds. And I do think there's a real sweetness to that. But like, for example, in it, the main character, Lily, she lives with her brother. They both just work jobs and they're just happy to sort of rumble on. And in it, they exist in their little world where they absolutely adore each other as brother and sister. And she thinks he's really good at impressions. And he's proper shit at impressions. Yeah. It's like he does like Arn and he's like, I'll be back. Like that. And she thinks it's hilarious and that it's like an absolute dead on Arnold Schwarzenegger impression, right? But obviously it's shit and you're laughing at that. But then at the same time, layered under that, you laughing at that, there's a real sweetness to it. You know, it's not taking the piss out of them. It's not going, look how shit they are, because it's actually going, look how sweet they are. They're just sort of just love each other and they're just happy with each other and all that sort of thing. So I really like stuff like that. And then you add to that the feel of the film. You know, it's got really nice soundtrack. It's got like really nice sort of melodic acoustic music that feels calm and gentle and soft. And it's just nice.
Bit different from Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
A little
that's
bit different
sure.
from Basement Jacks. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
a
is.
little bit.
There's a bit of Bowie in there. There's a bit of, I can't remember, there's a few other bits. There's a lot of elements of, because Lily's character in it plays the guitar badly, but she'll be playing the music and then the actual song will come on after she's finished singing it and stuff like that.
Classic technique. Love
Classic. I love, there's little animations all the way through it that sort of
little apples.
that are little apples, and they usually represent the state of Lily and oh my god, I've forgotten Jermaine Clement's character's name.
Jared, Josh.
Lily and Jared's relationship, and I really like that. So overall, I think it's quite funny as well. Like it is a bit like it's laughing at. It's quite daft and it's human. Like there's a bit where they're having a tournament on like a fighting game. I don't know if it's a real fighting game, but it's it's like a Street Fighter or a Tekken or something like that. And they're all,
well, it's called, what's it called?
Fight Man or something like that.
Fight Man. I think it's called Fight Man.
But they're having a tournament on that, and obviously there's loads of people in it who play normally and play competitively, and they're all called like Ice. One of them's called Ice Elf Queen, and one of them's called Valkyrie Blood. And there's a bit where it's like, right, okay, Ice Elf Queen has beaten Valkyrie Blood, and then one of them goes, Tony. And there's just a guy called Tony. So it's quite quirky in that sense, and I think it's quite funny. I think the performances are pretty good in it. You know, Jermaine Clement's good in this. He's quite good at that oddball sort of thing, isn't he? I think Lauren Horsley's good in this. She had a hand in writing it with Taika Waititi, I think, and she I think she's really sweet. She's really endearing. She does some really interesting stuff, like with her body language and with her eyes, to show that Lily is quite shy and quite reserved. But then she comes out of a shell as the film goes on. And I think she's really good. I think it's just very sweet. I think it's just a very sweet little film, and you can see from this why Taika Waititi would then go on, and the more success he gets, the more he is backed, the bigger things he can do. And then you end up with films like, so this wasn't the first Taika Waititi film I saw. I think the first Taika Waititi film I saw was Hunt for the Wilder People. And that's really great if you've not seen that. But, that's a little bit different. That's got, there's a lot more. You can tell there's more money. It's not massive, it's not a Marvel film. It's not like a big CGI fight at the end or whatever. But there's just, it's more high def. There's more to it. There's more cast in it. Whereas there's about 6 characters in this. I just think it's great. I think it's just a lovely little film. I think it deserves to be seen by more people, and I think it deserves to be more highly rated.
Yeah, and like you say, all the characters I think are really likable, like pretty much all of them, but for different reasons. So you've got like Lily, who seems to want a bit more from life. Like she doesn't like her job, she wants a boyfriend, but hasn't really been sure how to go about it, like until the film starts, and then you see her confidence build up. And she turns up at a party in a shark outfit. Like, come on, there's a serious bottle involved with that, man. And then you got Jared, who seems like a very shy guy, but wants to project like this air that he's more important. And that he especially wants Lily to be like impressed by him. Like when he's talking about how he's got to go home to kill a man, but he just means that he's going to go and beat up his school bully. Like he's trying to come across as like this hard man, but he just isn't.
Yeah.
But then in amongst his facade and some of his more hilarious moments, he has some really like lovely qualities, really. Like he introduces people he likes to others by stating the thing that they're good at. So he introduces Lily to his friends as family. Like, this is Lily. She's the best Fight Man player I've ever seen. And then same thing with his friend Mason. He says like, oh, he's the best hacker I've ever known. And he's also really explicit when he's asking Lily for consent when their relationship turns sexual. Like he asks if he can kiss her and then asks her if she wants to lie down in bed. So he's actually really, really likable, even though at first you're kind of not sure where it's going to go with him and what your relationship to him is.
Yeah, it's odd, isn't it? Because he sort of is. He's sweet, but he's also like a bit of a dick at the same time. But he's not a dick in a malicious sense. He's like just a bit deluded. It's definitely a film about 2 people who just want to be either loved or looked up to in some way. You know, in it. So there's a big plot line running through it that Jared's brother was the favourite and he died.
Yeah, Taika.
And that's Taika Waititi plays Taika, and he only plays him in like. He plays him in like photos and videos and stuff.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
He looks brilliant. He looks absolutely brilliant.
And there's a whole thing all the way through that he just wants to impress his dad. Yeah. But then there's a whole thing all the way through where Lily just wants to be, like by Jared and like by other people. So I think that's where the sweetness really, really comes into it as well.
So definitely.
Here's one for you. So You're going to the same party as them.
All right.
Go as your favourite animal.
Orca, obviously. Have I got
Orca.
Josh, are we even talking about this? Have you even got to
Your
ask me?
favourite animal's an orca.
Of course it is. Have you ever seen them? They're the gangsters of the ocean. They're majestic and intelligent and complex. I love them, Josh. Have I not mentioned this over and over again? Really?
You've never mentioned that you like orcas.
What? No, surely not. Listeners, let me know if I've mentioned if I like all orcas / killer
I
whales.
thought you were going to say
in the
dog.
past. I'm sure. Nah, it's orcas every day, man. Every day. Why? What about you? What's your favourite animal?
Well, my favourite animal is probably just like a dog, but I'm not going. I'm not going as a dog. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
It's time to impress, Josh.
If I'm going to a party,
they've gone eagle, they've gone shark. Where are you at?
If I'm going to a party and it's a costume party, and I'm like, I'm going to impress here. Plus, the characters are sort of on the pulse. So say I'm unattached and I'm on the pulse.
Okay, go on.
It's all about big giraffe.
Big giraffe. That's it.
Big giraffe
this
neck.
Long neck really woos the
If
ladies.
I could possibly come up with an optical illusion that makes my head in the giraffe's head with a big long neck, it's all about big giraffe neck.
That's hilarious. So giraffe versus orca. We'll see. We'll see who fares in that. I've got a lot of money on myself.
So what else then? I think it looks like you've got more there to say apart from the fact that you love orcas, which I never knew before. So what else? What else did you like about this film?
I'm sure I've told you before, but anyway. So I really like the way the film expresses that Jared's sister and brother-in-law have made some poor financial decisions, right? They've got all this stuff that they have to get rid of, that they have to sell to them. They try and sell it to Lily. What is it? Is it stuff like tracksuits?
It's makeup. There's like shit. There's what is obviously shit makeup. And then there's their own, funny. They say they have their own line of clothing and it's all like shell suits and track suits and stuff, but it's all like really badly, it's made to look like it's really badly made stuff.
Mm.
But but it's stuff like that, isn't it? It's funny, like there's a lot of, like say, I suppose deluded characters in it.
Yeah, there is a little bit. Or I suppose maybe ones that were really optimistic, but now their optimism has expired, shall we say. And it's like, no, you can't still be optimistic when you've still got 800 of these tracksuits in your garage. I'm sorry, but nobody wants them. I know you touched on it before then, but I do really like Lily's relationship with her brother. So it's like, as well as getting to know her and Jared as a duo, you also get to know her and Damon as a duo. And they have some really funny moments. So I think he's getting ready to drive at one point, and Lily says something like, "Oh, don't forget the safety grass," and then picks up a blade of grass and gives it to him. Like, it's that sibling lore, isn't it? It's like those weird in-jokes, like things that have been going on for so long.
It's like, you can't explain in-jokes. It's like, we've got a joke in our family, and it's like, it's like,
I know. And if you start doing it, like if you start speaking, people in the family know immediately what you're talking about, but people not in that circle, like, what the fuck?
And it's never funny. It's never funny.
Of course it's not.
I've got a joke in our family, and it's like, oh, basketball. What? It's not funny to anyone. It's like proper had to be there.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I wonder, there's a lot of that going on between them, I think. And just finally, I think the comic timing of this is really, really good. And the moments where you hang in the awkwardness really add a lot to the comedy as well. So when they're playing the video games, Lily chooses her name as Dangerous Person. So then we, of course, have to watch her type each individual letter into the console. And you're just hanging there waiting for the scene to end, and it doesn't end. And just brilliant, really clever, really clever.
Really good, like, awkward humour, isn't it?
Yeah. We'll move on now then to talking about anything that we perhaps didn't like about the film or that we would change. So, Josh, you chose it. Let's go to you first. What are you thinking?
I couldn't think of loads, to be honest. If I had to say one thing, it'd be there's a few pacing issues. Like it's not a long film. I think it's an hour and 40 or something like that, but it does drop in the pace a little bit in places. It's a little bit boring in places, particularly I think it certainly picks up towards the end, the last sort of 20 minutes or so, but I think maybe about 50 minutes, an hour in, the pace drops a little bit. And I think there's also there's a touch of it with the more could happen. They could have done more with the characters. Like, there's the plot line where Jared wants to beat up his school bully, but they could have done more with Lily. Like, she just does a lot of sort of sitting around, talking to his family and nothing more. And I get that it's about that she likes him and she wants to be his girlfriend and she wants to be loved by him and all that. But I think there could also have been more for her to do. I just don't know what it is. And I also get that it's a low stakes film and it's just about their little lives and all that. So maybe there doesn't need to be. But for me, those two things go hand in hand. Pacing off is a little bit off because I think it runs out of steam a little bit before it picks up towards the end of the film. So perhaps they could have filled that or altered that pacing by giving Lily maybe just one more thing to do, whatever that might be. But other than that, I really couldn't say anything. I just don't think there's much to dislike about this film. What about you, apart from the fact that it wasn't about an eagle fighting a shark?
So that is the main thing, obviously, that I'm taking away from this. So I think the title is deceptive. I would like to have a word with Taika's people, please. But I'm sort of being semi-genuine, right? Because I did genuinely have an emotional sort of response to it where I'd hyped myself up. I thought, sick, I'm going to watch an eagle fight a giant shark. And when it wasn't that, like...
It's the complete opposite of that as well.
I had to rewire my brain a little bit and be like, right, no, this is going to be a different experience. But it says a lot about me that I would just assume, like, because that's incorrect as well. Hollywood has done this to me, I think, where it's just like, yeah, it's exactly what it says on the tin. Like, there's no nuance here. Yeah. So I guess I just thought that that's what I was getting there. It's like, oh, it must actually just be an eagle fighting a shark. So apart from that, I touched on it when we were talking about the likes, but obviously it really is what it is. It's not trying to be anything different. And it is that genre and it is that sort of content. It's that sort of story. If you're not into that, you can't watch this film. Like I think we spoke about it a little bit with the way back as well, possibly. But like,
yeah, it's definitely, you can see, I can see why this probably didn't make loads of money, depending on how much money they put behind it. But I can also get like why you're not renting this with like a bunch of teenagers and being like, let's watch Eagle versus Shark, because they're gonna think it's boring. I think
it's not exciting, is it? I suppose that's what I'm getting at.
The way back's a really good comparison. The other one that I had in mind was Happy Go Lucky.
Yeah, certainly.
It's a film that's definitely, it's an indie film, isn't it? It's made for film lovers, or it's made for people who want low stakes sort of thing. It's there so you can see emerging actors, writers, and directors, and that sort of thing. So yeah, you're not getting psyched up for this and wanting a sequel and wanting a big action scene and all that sort of stuff. So
exactly,
I can see how this wouldn't be I could definitely see how this wouldn't be everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah. But apart from that, I don't have anything to add. On the whole, I had a really positive experience watching it. We'll move on now then to talking about the critical reception. So I haven't seen this, Josh, but if I remember rightly at the beginning of the episode, you reckon it's underseen and underrated. So what are we thinking? I think this is easily a solid 7. So
right, easily a solid 7.
But if you're saying then it's underrated, then I reckon it got less. So I'm going to go early 60s for this. So I reckon 62% / 6.2. But I would give it at least a 7.
Okay. So you think if it is that will be underrated? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So let's have a look then. So at the time of recording on IMDb, it gets 6.7. The audience on Rotten Tomatoes give it 67%, so exactly the same as IMDb. And then the critics give it 56%, which averages out at 63. So
no.
Yeah,
I mean, no. That's down into the 5s from the critics. I'm not on board with that.
No, me neither. Josh, I mean, like I said, it's not changing the world. It's not doing anything you've probably not even seen before. But it's not bad. It's just a nice little indie comedy film, and I think it certainly deserves better than 56. I would agree with you and say it's probably a solid 7. So what do we think then? Is it underrated?
It absolutely is.
And then the next category, is it underseen?
Well, Josh, I thought it was going to be something totally different. So I reckon, yeah, it is. I reckon if people see that title, but then see that it's not about that, they might just skip it, Yeah. I reckon if you're scrolling down on your streaming service or whatever, and you're like, oh, Eagle v. Shark, but then you kind of the title betrays the content, I think.
Yeah,
if you're like me and you're just a mainstream bitch with a Hollywood brain. But
I know what you mean.
mean.
So if you see the poster, it brings the title into context because it's both of them in their fancy dress costumes. So the poster is very much like, this is an quirky indie comedy. But if you just said, have you seen Eagle versus Shark? You might as well be going, have you seen Batman versus Superman?
Exactly.
So I know what you mean. I know what you mean, but I agree. I said it was underseen. I think, considering how big Taika Waititi is now, I think this deserves to be seen by more people because this is his first feature film. And I think there's plenty to like in there. And I think go and give it a watch if you like Taika Waititi, because this is the first thing he did. And so you can definitely see how he got better and bigger from here. Okay, so there we go. Another one in the underrated and underseen vault. I'm really glad about that, to be honest. I was on the fence whether or not you'd hate it because it was too quirky or think it was sort of quite nice. I'm glad that you came down on the nice side. Now, normally, because we take it in turns, it would be your turn to pick next week.
It would, yeah.
But I'm vetoing it.
Oh, crap.
I'm banning you. That's it. No more choices. I choose all the films. It's been nice working with you. No. So, next week is a really special episode. Do you know why? Without me telling you.
Oh, God. No, I don't know. Am I the worst film person ever?
Yeah, the worst film person ever. This has been a long prank. No. So, next week is your 100th episode.
Oh, is it now?
It is. It's your 100th episode of Just Films and that. So
what am I? A centurion?
Centurion.
A centaur? Yeah,
a centaur,
right.
Yeah. Half man, half horse creature. So I thought, well, it's about time we did another classic. So what better way to celebrate your 100th episode than to watch and talk about...
Oh my God.
Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Oh my God. Are you being serious?
No, I'm not. I'm making it up. So what we're going to be watching is... So I thought, well, you've been very... you've praised Terminator 2 a lot. So essentially, to celebrate 100 episodes, we're going to watch it and you can just talk about Terminator 2 for as long as you want.
Josh, I can't tell you how happy that makes me. Listeners, he genuinely hadn't told me. He said there was a surprise coming and I was like, nah, you know what? Wait till the last minute. You tell me then, get an authentic reaction. But I've been thinking about this, Josh, for some time. And I was like, how do I present it to Josh? How do I come to him and say, listen, this film that is neither underseen nor underrated, doesn't need any more attention, but how do we do it? I need to be able to do it because I've never watched it critically. I've always watched it for pleasure. And I reckon if I go back and watch it critically, I'm going to have the best time. I can already imagine some of the scenes and some of the things that happen and thinking, yeah, here's why. This is sick. This is sick. James Cameron's a genius. Arnie is my fave. Boss. This is the best news I've had in fucking ages. Right. Craig.
Yes.
Let's hang up now so we can go record it.
Join us next week for Alice's 100th episode where we're going to be talking about Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Hey, you better say on social media why we're doing it though, because people, you know what people like, they'll go, well, that ain't underseen or underrated. It's just like, no, everyone, it's a special treat for me.
Yeah. The amount of people who go, we're doing a classic film, they go, it's not underrated. Yeah, I know.
It's a classic.
Say classic, haven't I? But anyway, join us next week. We're going to be celebrating 100 episodes of Alice and going to be talking about Terminator 2 Judgment Day. In the meantime...
my God, I'm buzzing.
If you'd like to get in touch with us, it's filmsandthatpod@gmail.com. We're on all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Search for Just Films and That or Films and That Pod. If you click in all the links in our bios, there's a little link tree there. That's got a link to all of our stuff. And we're also on your televisions, aren't we, Alice?
We are indeed. We are on the local TV network every Friday from 6 p.m. So if you live in Birmingham, Bristol, Liverpool, Leeds, or the northeast of England, you can find us on Channel 7 on Freeview. Or if you live in North Wales or South Wales, you can find us on Channel 8 on Freeview. Or you can live anywhere in the country and we'll be on Channel 188. That's every Friday evening on the local TV network.
Yes, lots of ways to listen to us, lots of ways to look at our content, see us on the telly. Aren't you lucky? So yes, all that remains to be said is, how much are you looking forward to next week, Alice?
Oh my God, don't even. I can't. How are we going to...
I might not even turn up.
Serious question. Are we keeping this to half an hour?
it's fine.
That's going to be hard.
Let's treat
Maybe
it.
release it in 5 parts.
Yeah, that's the longest ever episode. After 24 hours. Can you beat perhaps 24
There you
hours
go.
talking about Terminator?
Easy.
So,
You want minute by minute analysis? I'm here.
So, yes, join us next week. And all that remains to be said is thank you very much for listening as ever. And it's goodbye from me. Cheerio.
I'll be back.